Hi, good evening and welcome to today's session. Just as you know, we are continuing our week one. This is part of week one of the interview bootcamp. And the other day we touched on the types of resumes and how to basically some questions, very common questions you would face in every interview and how to answer them. Majorly, we talked about using the STAR method to answer questions when we go for interviews. Today, we are going to go further to talk about common interview mistakes and how to handle them. We'll touch on a number of things and we'll make progress from then on. So again, welcome to today's sessions. We are talking about common interview mistakes and how to handle them. If we have time, we'll go further. But for now, let's focus on common interview mistakes and how to handle them. Majorly, when we go for interviews, sometimes we probably have an idea of all the questions that needs to be answered. So the interviewer asks you a question, you know what to answer, but there are certain other things that would make you stand out in that interview, not just answering the questions. You may get the questions correctly, but some other things would make you land the role or would make the interviewer believe you are the best person for the job over other candidates. Remember from our other session, we talked about the fact that you are not the only candidates interviewing for that role. You have competitors and you want to stand out as the best. You want to stand out as the ideal candidate for the role. So other than answering questions correctly, other things you need to put in place, you also need to take all of that into consideration. That's basically what we are going to be talking about today. First, let's talk about body language and non-verbal communication. So while it's good to go to know the questions to the interviewers, to know the answers rather to the interviewer's question, you also need to put your best foot forward when it comes to body language and non-verbal communication. You want to maintain a good posture. Sit uprightly. It shows that you are taking the session seriously. You are committed to listening to what's happening, and it shows you are bold. Good posture. So if it's an on-site interview, a physical interview, not a virtual one, you want to go there and sit properly, chest out, not, you don't need to slouch, right? So maintain good posture. Then you don't want to fidget as well. You need to avoid fidgeting. And when you fidget, it shows that you're probably timid or shy, and it doesn't tell well about you. So please do not fidget. Then use appropriate hand gestures. You are talking, you are making some gestures to show your point. You want to do that as well. Then you want to smile and maintain eye contact, right? You want to smile and maintain eye contact. Now, the last session, I talked about a candidate I had sent to a hiring manager to have a functional interview with. It was a virtual interview. His camera was on. I don't know if he forgot that his camera was on. One, he wasn't properly dressed for the interview. So whether it's a virtual interview or an on-site interview, I would expect that you dress properly to that interview. It is a formal section, and you need to dress formally. So this candidate wasn't properly dressed. As bad as that was, while the session was going on, the interview was going on with the hiring manager, he just slept on his bed and was answering the question. The hiring manager was so angry, reached out to me and was like, hello, what kind of candidate did you send to me? Because I don't even understand. So you do not want to do all of that. And I also talked about the last time a candidate, we had an interview with my colleagues and I 2 weeks ago. And one thing that caught everybody's attention on the panel, it was a panel of 6. One thing that caught everybody's attention is the fact that this candidate was smiling all through. Were some of the questions very difficult and technical? Yes. But before she answers, she puts up a smile. And it made her so endearing. Everybody even had to comment on the fact that she smiled all through. You want to create a very good atmosphere. Again, remember I said the other time that an interview is not like a war zone, right? It's a conversation. So don't go there with should I say fear? Don't go there with fear. Don't go there looking timid or looking like the lesser party. No, you are not. I believe, and I believe a lot of recruiters will agree with me, and people in HR will agree with me, that as a candidate, you are not an inferior party. You are, as a candidate, you have your skills to render that makes you good enough. This company needs your skills, so they don't just want to hire you because they like your face. They need your skills, and that's why they want to hire you. And so that makes you so don't go there with this inferiority complex. Don't go to an interview with that. And if you do not do all of these things we've mentioned here, you are actually putting out yourself there as the inferior party, which you are not. And no company wants to give the job to the candidate who is not bold enough. Now, sometimes questions can be really difficult, right? You may not even have on the spot answers. And you would ask, how do I handle such? Personally, as a candidate, I've been there. And first, you have to stay calm and composed, right? One thing that helps me as a candidate, if I face a difficult question, the first thing I do is to put up a smile. It makes me calm, and it sends the right signal to the interviewer as well. So stay calm, stay composed. A smile will help you do that. Then answer the questions honestly and thoughtfully. You want to be thoughtful, not just honest. Remember, it's honestly and thoughtfully. Not just honest, because you don't want to over speak. Now, sometimes you interview a candidate and you're asking them, why are you leaving your current organization, for example? And the candidate is being honest, but not thoughtful, I would say. Being honest in the fact that they're saying the truth why they are leaving their current organization, but they're not being thoughtful if they have to speak ill of their current organization. It may be true, but you don't go for an interview, speaking so ill about your current organization or previous organization. It will make the interviewer feel, if we give you the job, you probably will speak ill of us, right? So you want to be honest, but thoughtful. So you can rephrase some things. You may decide not to make some answers as direct as you ought to, and you don't make it so direct. So I would say Answer honestly, but use your IQ or HQ, like some people will say. So be thoughtful. Then you want to equally use the STAR method to structure your responses. That way it becomes easy. Just in case you do not know what the STAR method is, I would expect that you do, because we covered it extensively the last session. So you want to go to the YouTube channel and watch. I won't be taking questions on what the STAR method is because we've already covered that. Remember, I said these sessions are that they are interwoven. So you want to go back to what we've done before in case you missed a session. Then let's talk about following up after interviews. You'll be wondering, is this even important? My answer will be yes, it is very important. If you do not, it's fine. If the job is yours, like I tell people, if the universe or God, if you believe in God, says the job is yours and you've done your best to put your best foot forward, then you'll probably get the job. But following up actually does some trick. You want to understand the fact that the interviewer is a human, first human, before being professional, right? So you want to understand these facts and you want to understand the psychology behind this person being human. And as such, you want to as well be human. Now, you need to understand also that humans hire humans. We don't hire paper. So we are not hiring your resume. Good, your resume is that marketing tool that got you the interview. We've now seen you during the interview. We want to hire you for humans hire humans. So you want to bring the human side out of the other party as well. So I would encourage you to send a thank you message within 24 hours after the interview. It may not be anything so serious. Probably thank you for today's interview. I love how the interview session went and all of that. Now, this is what it does for the interviewer, because I have been an interviewer over the years. I know what candidates who do for me. Not that it makes me biased, but it makes me look out for that particular candidate. For example, I once interviewed a candidate. So the process for my company my then company, was after recruiter's interview, which is also known as screening call, which is where I fall. So after I interview you, the next session will be a case study, written case study that will be sent to the candidate before the candidate is now interviewed by the hiring manager, right? So after my session, I did enjoy the session with this candidate. I enjoyed the interview. As an interviewer, she was good. She sent me a thank you message 24 hours. I think within 24 hours, that same day, she sent me a thank you message to tell me she enjoyed the interview and she's looking forward to working with us. So out of over 100 candidates who I have spoken to on that role, I remember this particular one because she sent me a thank you message. Now, this is what happened. Because my session with her was good, so I moved her to the next stage, which was the case study, written case study. And when she submitted, of course, I'm not the one to grade it. The hiring manager does that. I sent to the hiring manager. The hiring manager looked at it, and she did not pass according to the hiring manager's rubric. She didn't meet what he wanted. But because this lady has sent me a thank you message, I remembered that I had to check in on the hiring manager to say, what did this person do wrong? Can we give her a second chance? This is not something that they will easily do. Remember, she's not the only candidate. Other candidates have failed case study, and we do not give them a second chance. But because I remember her and because she stood out for me somewhere in my brain, I just remember that, okay, let me reach out to the hiring manager to say, ask if he can give a second chance. I persuaded him. He told me what the areas he would have thought she would hammer on the case study. And I reached out to her, since the hiring manager had said, okay, because of me, I had troubled him a lot, he would give her a second chance. So we gave her a second chance. She did the case study again, and she passed this time. She passed, not just passed. She did the functional interview with the hiring manager, did leadership interview, did other whatever, and she was hired for the job. Over 200 or more persons who were qualified, and I'm not talking about people who applied for the job. Over 200 more persons who were qualified. So that is what a follow-up or thank you email can do. It may mean nothing to the interviewer, and it may also be of help to you. So if you have the time, why not do it? It's for free even. It's not going to cost you a dime. So please go ahead. But I'm not saying you should lie. If the interview was terrible, leave it alone. There's nothing to be thanking them for. Then when you are doing a follow-up interview, you are reiterating your interest in the position. It shows zeal. It shows passion that this person wants to be part of us, right? You are not sending that thank you message in a beggarly attitude. No, you need to know that you are showing that this is my job and I would like to come in to add my experience to what you do in this company. So you want to do that follow up by reiterating your interest in the position. Then, of course, you can address any specific points discussed in the interview, just to show, highlight your interest. Basically, that's what this is about. Now, let's come to the big one: negotiating salary and benefits. I will always say negotiating salary is an act. It's something you learn over time. You learn over time. Am I perfect? I don't think so. Because sometimes you hear some things, the theory part, but it's not as easy as it is when it's practical. You'll agree with me. So it's something you get better at as you do it. You get better at it. As you practice, you get better at it. Now, before you talk of negotiating salaries and benefits, you want to also research the industry standard. If this company is in the oil and gas sector, for example, you want to research what similar oil and gas companies or competitors give for the role you are probably applying for, right? You want to do that as well. That way, you are going to that interview when it's time for negotiating salary. You are going with that interview the mindset or with adequate information about this industry. If the industry you are going for is the hospitality industry, you also want to research their competitors and find out what the salary is like. as well as other benefits. That you can find on Glassdoor, if it's a very big company. If it's not, you may not see all of that on Glassdoor, unfortunately. But you can equally reach out to me. I've done it severally. You can equally reach out to past employees of the organization, or or even current employees, if they will be able to tell you. But most current employees are under non-disclosure agreement, so they may not be able to. So past employees, they have nothing to lose. Those who just left the organization, they may be willing to speak to you and tell you the truth about that organization. So you want to do that. Then you want to negotiate better. If you are going for salary negotiations, you need to understand what your WATNA is. WATNA stands for worst alternative to a negotiated agreement. You also want to understand what your BATNA is. Your BATNA stands for best alternative to a negotiated agreement. So, for example, this company is saying they'll pay you 200,000. What's your worst alternative? Your worst alternative is below the 200,000, which is what the company says they want to pay you. If you will not go beyond 100,000, then if the company throws in 80,000, for example, you are saying what I have in mind is 200,000, but my worst, I'm not going to go beyond 100,000. Or if your worst is 150, I'm not going to go below 150 for this role. So that's your worst alternative. Your best alternative would be something as close as the 200,000 you have in mind. Now, something I tell my mentees is that when you are going for salary negotiations, you have to understand the psychology behind that. If, for example, I know that I do not want to go below, I cannot do that job for below 200,000. When they ask me for my minimum expectation, I'm not going to say 200,000. I'll probably say 250. No, I'm not even going to say 250. I'll probably say 350 or 300. That's because I know that we are going to negotiate, right? And when we start our negotiations, we would most likely not fall below 200,000, because it will take time for us to negotiate and come down all the way from 350 that I mentioned to 200. But the mistake most of us do is when we go for salary negotiations, we know we cannot do this job below 200,000. And when you are asked what your salary expectation is, you say 200,000, and that's where you get it wrong. So you need to understand the psychology. Of course, negotiation is going to take place. Again, when you say, when you go that high, for example, remember you've done research, so you probably have an idea. So when you go so high, sometimes, I'm not saying you should go way, 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 way high, but when you go to the level where we are using 200,000 and 350 for our example. So I say I will do 350. When I say I'll do 350, the interviewer is not expecting, will not be expecting me to say to accept 100,000, because I've mentioned 350. 350 is nowhere close to 100,000. But if I say 200, they may be expecting that I would be able to do the job for 100,000. I hope you get my point. I hope you get my points. You can give a reaction so I know you actually did get my point. Okay, thank you. Love it. you want to be confident and assertive. I love this candidate. This candidate we interviewed. Man, I loved her confidence. And she was direct. When it came to salary negotiation, she was very confident, telling us what she's bringing to the table and why we need to pay her so amount. And it wasn't small money. And she was calling it like she understood what she was saying. She told us all the benefits she was getting in her current job, and she expects that we'll match it and even do better. So that is what you need to do. You have to be confident and assertive. Then, of course, you want to consider other factors beyond salary. So why base salary is important, as important, if not more important, to your salary as well. You want to consider other benefits like training benefits. Some organizations give you training that would help you build your career and grow. You will not be in one organization forever. Probably you may be there for 1, 2, 3, 5 years, 10 years, maybe, if you have grace. And you want to ensure that you are building yourself, you are building your career so that you are good enough for another company as well, right? So you want to consider such benefits. You want to consider benefits such as HMO. A good HMO is not the type that the only thing they give is paracetamol. You want to ensure that other benefits like group life, certain things are standard. Of course, group life and pension, those things are standard. I would expect every reasonable organization to have all of that. So you want to consider that. You want to consider, is there paid time off? Maybe if they do, and the base salary is not as good as you probably want. Maybe you wanted 200, but they are not willing to do anything beyond 180. So the difference is not so much. And these other benefits are good. You want to consider the fact that these benefits are there, and it's not so far from what you are expecting, and that may be a reason why you want to take that role. Then, of course, growth opportunities. Are there opportunities for growth in the company? And how do you know this? Again, if it's a very big company, you can check on Glassdoor. If it's not a very big company, again, you can ask previous employees how the place is. Some of them may not tell you the truth, but at least you've done your due diligence, and you should, just in case they tell you. So I think that's all we are covering today. By tomorrow, which is our next class, we would have to do these mock interviews and give feedback. So we start doing some practicals. Remember that we talked about the fact that this bootcamp is more of practicals, because when you're going for an interview, it's practical, and we want to be sure that you understand what we've been saying and you are putting them in practice. Again, if you missed last session, please go and check it out. That way you will be brought up to speed. Then if you miss part of this session, because I saw some people going out and coming off because of network, I believe, take out time to also go through so you are brought up to speed before our session tomorrow, because we are going to be doing practicals, and it won't be good that you are doing practicals and you do not know what has been covered or you are lost at some point. Well, that will be all for tonight. Thank you for joining today's session. I cannot see any question in the Q&A section, so I don't think anyone drops a question. But just in case you have a question, please raise your hand and let's take your question before we end today's session. You can raise your hand or you can type in the Q&A session. I take it that nobody has a question and you understood. Is that what it is? Let me know in the chat box if that is what it is. Remember, this is a very, very practical class. You can only gain anything from this session if you decide to follow through with all the practicals we will have, because I'm not going to be attending these interview sessions you will have with you, but I want to be sure that you understand and you can put to practice what we've learned. And tomorrow we are going to start in our mock interviews and see how you put to practice what you've learned. So if you have questions, it would be great to ask them now, because tomorrow is practical and I want you to put to practice what you've learned. If you don't have any questions, that's fine. Love it. I don't know if you are raising your hands or you want to speak. I can see this question now. What are good reasons we can give to a hiring manager for leaving a former place of work? And basically what I would advise you to say is you left for career growth or better opportunities. You are leaving for career growth and better opportunities. And if they are going to give you better opportunities, why not? Self-development, but not to speak ill of your past organization. Okay, Ogechi, the video for last session is not yet on the YouTube channel. Yeah, we'll do that today. Asha, please take notes. Let's get it done, because so many people, the network wasn't good the last time and they were not able to join this session, so they can take their time. Remember, this is a practical class and it will be uploaded, Ogechi. Okay, so I think I've taken the only question we have here. If nobody else has a question, love it again. I don't know, is this a hand you are raising or it's a reaction you wanted to make? If it's a reaction, then that's fine. If it's a question, please raise your hand again if it's a question, so that we unmute your mic and you can speak. Okay, I think that's a reaction and not a question. Thank you all for attending today's session. Please take your time to go through what we've done, the previous session as well as today's session, as from now, more of what we'll do will be practicals. So we'll be hearing you speak. Everybody is going to speak, and we want to be sure you understand. and you can put to practice what we are saying, and we're not just blabbing and wasting our time. Again, thank you for taking our time to attend today's session, and see you tomorrow. Please take our time to go through and practice. Try to practice on your own before tomorrow's session. Have a wonderful night rest, and happy weekend. Bye.